Hiya, anime fan. Are you ready for some hardcore exposition?
Hell yeah. Wait, what?
Sailor Moon Crystal, episode 20, begins in the Crystal Castle, with King Endymion showing up and given the scoop on the events in the 30th century. You see, in the future, humanity lives in a peaceful utopia, and the average lifespan is about 1,000.
Great, now how the hell are you supposed to get rid of the holes?
That's easy. They banish their jerkwads to planet Nemesis. But Space Alcatraz got hijacked by the Black Moon Clan. And they attack, coincidentally, as Neo Queen Serenity, who's usually kind of a shut-in, decides to book it out of the castle for some reason. Now, apparently, if you time travel and you're in the same general area as yourself, you start to suffer Marty McFly syndrome. So the gang heads back to the present. The next day, Rini takes a field trip back to the future.
Oh, Private, have you no shame?
She has a heart-to-heart with Sailor Pluto, and visits the comatose bodies of the Sailor Scouts, the cats, and her folks. Then, on the way back, Emerald shows up wielding the awesome power of...
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man! Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man!
But it's okay, because the good guys are close by. And even though Tuxedo Mask ices Emerald, Prince Diamond catches Sailor Moon with his paralyzing enchantment powers. This episode is bad. Just bad. They want to do stuff like world building and give you background and all that stuff, which is good. All of that helps develop a rich, complex world that you can get lost in. But this is not an exciting romp through a magical land of fantasy. It's a classroom lecture by Professor Endymion, and all I can think about is what's for lunch in the cafeteria. I hate to be pulling out the show don't tell screenwriting lesson, but come on, this is getting close to Final Fantasy XIII bad.
And yet that particular game received 2 sequels.
Life is so unfair. Okay, now let's talk about what passes for the action scene in this episode. Man, is it ever short. Now, as far as I can tell, the fight plays out pretty much like it does in the manga. Back in the original anime, when Emerald duked it out with the Sailor Scouts, she A. fought the whole team, B. was tricked into taking a cursed artifact by the Wise Man, revealing him to be a two-faced backstabbing snake, and C. was a dragon. Let me repeat that. She turned into a dragon.
You know, Private, as much as I hate to admit it, turning into a dragon is pretty darn cool.
I'm not trying to undercut Tuxedo Mask's usefulness in this situation, but in the original anime, the win was a team effort, against an enemy that was too powerful for just one of them to take on. Here, it's just a one-shot and then it's over. Now for the comedy. There's only one, maybe 2 limp sparks of humor in this episode. The first is when Serena and Darien find out that Rini is their future daughter, and then freak out in that way that only anime characters can. It's only really funny in a you guys are just figuring this out now sort of way. The other is when they go back to the present. And Sailor Venus lands on top of Usagi and Mamoru. Crack falls. They never get old. Oh, and Artemis and Luna have a kitten in the future, 'cause of course they do. I mean, he's the only guy there. Okay, now it's time to break down the good and the bad in Sailor Moon Crystal episode 20. On the good side, the world building is interesting and the humor that was there was acceptable. On the downside, the whole episode is a ham-fisted exposition extravaganza. The fight was weak in the extreme, and the whole thing is just mind-numbingly tedious. So I give Sailor Moon Crystal episode 20 a 2 out of 5. Oh well, maybe it gets better when the Wicked Lady shows up. If you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games, check out my channel on YouTube at StupidPrivate913, or find my Facebook and Deviantart pages for video updates and more. Thank you for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.